Hey, what's up, everybody? It's been a bit since I've done an update here, and we're in some interesting times that I think calls for a bit of an update. And it's also the 8/8 Lionsgate portal tonight as I'm filming this right now. So we're going to get into that. We're going to get into the Clarity Act and where that's at. We're going to get into this huge hack that happened with the cold card wallet, a cold storage wallet, and how to protect your wallets from something like that. We're going to get into the uh, changes that are going on with Corium, Sologenic, and TX. If you've not been up to date on that, you definitely will want to pay attention, especially if you're holding Sologenic or Corium. There are some extremely important updates for you. So we're going to get to that near the end. And then we're going to get into the XRP price, what I think is going to happen over the next period of the next few weeks and months and year. And then we'll wrap it up. So, starting off with the Lionsgate portal here, if you're not familiar with this, the Lionsgate is essentially when the star Sirius is closest, I believe this is what it is, when it's closest to our solar system. Lionsgate portal refers to the days on either side of that date, roughly July 28th to August 12th, when the power of Sirius is believed to be activated by the sun. It goes back to ancient tradition. To the Egyptians, Sirius was the goddess Sopdet, and I don't know if I'm saying that right. Its first appearance in the dawn sky each year signaled the annual rising and flooding of the Nile. The Greeks and the Romans called Sirius the dog star. Sirius connection and contact goes back a long, long way. I think it's also I'm pretty sure that it's the Australian Aborigines. It's either that or it's the African tribe that the name is escaping me right now, but that they connect to Sirius and that they depicted Sirius in their art going back thousands of years. So Sirius is really important in the energetic landscape, and particularly for the crypto realm and the financial realm and the financial reset. It's really applicable because Sirius in particular is known to be an abundance portal, an abundance time, a time where, because of the alignments and the energies, it's more potent to be able to manifest finances and the type of abundance that you want in your life, even if not financially related, family, love, experiences, connecting with nature, whatever form of abundance is the one that you're connecting to and calling in. Obviously, financials going to be a big part of that for everybody. And for crypto here, I think that's the most applicable. And it's interesting timing with the Lionsgate portal because, and also the 8/8, is kind of like infinity on its side. 8/8 is doubling, boosting lucky, abundant energy. So it's particularly interesting because right now we are on the precipice of the biggest, most important event to ever happen to crypto as a whole, which is the passing of the Clarity Act. And when I say the most important thing to happen to crypto as a whole, I mean in terms of actualizing and realizing crypto's integration into the global financial realm. So essentially what the Clarity Act is, if you are unfamiliar with this, it is the main regulatory body or bill that will set up the regulation for cryptocurrency within the United States so that institutions, the government, and retail investors like us have full legal clarity on how crypto is regulated and how it can be legally and not legally used. Right now, it's been in a gray area, and this is the largest contributor as to why the price of crypto has been going sideways and down in the last year or two. Of course, we're also in these 4-year cycles, and those play out pretty naturally with Bitcoin. And so we're going to have ups and downs constantly. But what we're really looking for with crypto, and in particular with XRP, what we're really looking for is utility-driven demand. So right now, we've been in a speculative market for all of cryptocurrency's history. And pretty much every investment or asset class that you can think of is a speculative investment. So stocks, real estate, these are speculative because for example, with a stock, you're investing in a company, speculating that it's going to do well. Cryptocurrency is the first asset class. You could argue maybe gold a little bit, but where the asset itself, crypto, is an actual technology. It has a utility, and gold has this in a way. And obviously, it is used for jewelry. It's used for technology, but particularly in the digital realm, and particularly for doing technological utilities, cryptocurrency is the first asset class to provide that. And so, what that means is that eventually, we're going to get out of a speculative market and into a technology utility driven market. And that's the big thing that the Clarity Act is going to provide the framework and the foundation to usher in. And that's where we could see crazy price increases for assets like XRP that are going to be the back end of the new global financial system. You might call it the quantum financial system. And quantum is essentially, instant. So when people say QFS, people use it in different ways. But for me, the quantum financial system is seeing money and finances move as quickly and effortlessly as the internet made information move. So cryptocurrency is bringing to money what the internet brought to information, in terms of, you could have, the internet's made it so you could have any amount of information, literally the entire human knowledge base at your fingertips, which didn't exist prior to like the 2000s, really. And so with money, the current framework, the current banking system, and if you've watched my workshops on my channel, you've heard me talk about this. It operates and was likely, I believe, set up intentionally to be a parasitic system that only feeds the top. And so we're in a system where they take the banking class takes every bit of friction in the financial system, meaning when you send a bank transfer or a wire transfer or something like that, PayPal, if you're not paying extra to do it instantly, which you have to pay extra for, it's going to take 3 to 5 business days for those ACH and wire transfer rails to fully settle. And in those 3 to 5 days, weekdays from 8 to 5 or 8 to 6 or whatever, 9 to 5, during that time period, those entities are using your money to make more money. So they're lending it out, they're leveraging it, they're investing it, they're using that friction that's costing us, the consumer, the retail, the taxpayer, the people, essentially siphoning our energy and making it a more difficult process for us to do daily transactions, because they're using this as a profit model. And so that's one of the biggest reasons that the banks are so opposed to cryptocurrency, and why they fought it so diligently, and why for this Clarity Act, this has taken almost a year now to even bring up for a vote, let alone if it's even going to pass, because of course, all of the left, all the Democrats are pretty much going to vote no on it, because unfortunately, crypto has also become a political thing to them. But truth has now become a political thing in general. So we're very much seeing the divide of the polarity of, what is servicing humanity and what is servicing the elite class. And so the Clarity Act was supposed to be passed back in like January, and it kept getting delayed. The ball kept getting kicked down the road. And now we're in August, and it was supposed to get passed. I mean, it was supposed to get voted on. They were supposed to have the meeting before the Senate went on recess. And unfortunately, that did not happen. As of yesterday, Friday, the Senate went on recess. And so now they've officially scheduled the clearing for the Clarity Act. Thank God we now have a date, at least, for Tuesday, September 15th this year at 2:15 p.m. Eastern time. So at the very least, we have a date. I was betting that this was not going to get passed before Senate went to recess, which ended up becoming true. And we're talking about this stuff I know I haven't been making that much content lately, but every week the Conscious Crypto Academy is meeting. We're having a 3 to 4 hour group Zoom call with 10 to 15, sometimes 20 other people. We have over 150 people in our group total and in our group chat, and we're talking about this stuff, messaging constantly. Every week we're doing a briefing like this, where I go through and talk about, what's going on that week. And then we share stories and we share other updates, and we talk about the markets and the charts. And then we go into like super fun, open conversation about, whatever disclosure, ascension, spiritual related topics, or really whatever, movies that are out that are relevant, whatever topics people want to go into, typically, having to do with the awakening. And we do that every Sunday. So if you guys want to join that, you can schedule a free call with me down below to see if you're a good fit. And I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end too. But essentially, we've been following what's going on with the Clarity Act every week in there. So if you want more like routine updates, that's the place to be. And then basically, this is, it kind of in a way is the major catalyst and the major support from which the future of crypto depends on. But at the same time, if it does not pass, I've seen the Trump admin people, the head of the SEC and others talk about how they do have backup plans. And I think, for instance, the head of the SEC, pretty sure that's Paul Atkins. Let me double check that. The head of the SEC, yep, Paul Atkins. I'm pretty sure it was him. He said that basically if the Clarity Act did not pass, that they would be beginning to draft regulation for the SEC to govern it. So there is essentially backup plans in the pipe, and we've been talking about this in our group as well. Like, okay, this is kind of in a way, like a smoke screen, kind of a charade, distraction maybe, but I think it's more so whether it's planned by the people that are running the behind the scenes for, the light essentially, or it's divine timing. I think that this, coupled with UFO disclosure, coupled with what's going on with Epstein and all the child stuff that's going on, I think that that's all going to come to kind of a mutually synthesizing headway that all relies on each other. Also, the Save America Act, with the big E that happens and securing those, I think it's all going to be related. And there's, I think, an orchestrated timing that has to happen between them. So however it plays out, I'm not really worried about it. Let's talk about the XRP price now, since it's kind of relevant. I was going to save it for the end, but the price of crypto, every time this gets delayed, it's been going down. And, as long as this gets delayed, it probably will continue to go down unless something major happens. But I think when it does get passed, if it does get passed, we're going to see a major immediate jump up, potentially back to previous all-time highs, which for XRP is over a 3x. But at least I think a jump up to some of these higher Fibonacci levels, which is what I've got on here. I was going to call them frequencies. Basically frequencies. Fractals was the word I'm looking for. Which is another thing we teach you how to use in Conscious Crypto Academy, is how to set up these Fibonacci ratios so that you can look at different prices. And you can see the price bounces off these different Fibonacci fractal levels. And so we've pretty much done a full retracement, which is extremely healthy in a bullish market, in an uptrending market. You want to see a full retracement down to these levels, this turquoise 0.786 level. That's actually considered really healthy. And what that means is that when it goes back up, it could go up very, very quickly without really any warning. And that's what XRP is also known to do, is to, without any warning, suddenly just blow people's minds. Back in 2017, going into 18, that's when it went from half a penny to $3.80 over a few months. Most of that was in like 2 weeks. So XRP will catch people by surprise. It's just a matter of timing. And this chart setup is just absolutely wonderful and beautiful for, what's to come ahead. And I'm not a trader. I'm not like an expert on charts, but the Fibonacci is one of the things that I use that we could teach you how to do that is really easy and will give you a really good context for what's going on in the market. So at the same time, Polymarket, I just saw this when I was putting up this video, getting everything ready. Polymarket is saying XRP is projected to crash below $1 by the end of the month, 65% chance. On Polymarket, you can go and bet on any asset and bet if it's going to go up or down, which is a whole interesting thing on top of, just buying it, which is already a bet for it going up or down. And so they do this with Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana and XRP and everything. But in particular, I don't see a reason why. I think this is just kind of randomly sharing that. There's also, weird stuff that goes on behind the scenes from a lot of these companies where they tend to be anti-XRP and they want to put out FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. to get people out of XRP, which is what we saw with Ledger Wallet, which is why I don't use the Ledger anymore. And we're going to get into the big wallet hack next. Ledger trash talk, the CEO trash talk XRP. They had big security issues with their wallets. That's why I don't use them. Coin Market Cap, which used to be my go-to tracking website and portfolio manager. They also ran articles and hit pieces against XRP. So it's become this very, it's always been this very political and spiritual warfare archetype that's going on with it. And so I do think that if clarity, now that we have another month, there's a good chance that all of crypto will go down. And so if it does, then XRP will go down and probably beneath $1. To what price, I don't know. But I think, it's going to really depend on what happens with the Clarity Act. It's going to, that vote will really make a difference on where the market goes up or down. So we just really want to put out a lot of prayer and good energy that whatever the best timeline is for that, even if the best timeline is a no for now, that the best timeline occurs. And, the longer that this gets drawn out, even though it's a patience and a waiting game for us that have been investors, especially for years in XRP and crypto, it's allowing more opportunity for everybody, for the people that are already invested, for the people that are just coming in and just discovering this. Like the magic that I believe is going to come out of this transition of this financial system, and the people that it's going to benefit. There's only a fraction of the total population and a fraction even of crypto holders that hold over like 2,000 XRP. I think I saw a statistic, it's only like 10,000 people or something that hold more than 2,000 XRP. So the people that are coming into it rapidly that I'm seeing are the people that are being spiritually guided and drawn to it, the people that are feeling the intuitive hit. And there's a lot of people who have kind of felt that intuitive hit for years and maybe put it off. And now is, like, I would say, risk to reward wise, this is the best time I think to ever get into crypto, because the whole market is pulled back. Like we've said, we're looking at prices that we had a couple years ago. We don't know if we're ever going to get this opportunity at these prices again. And to be able to buy XRP at around $1 is just, I think, an incredible steal when you're talking about it going to, tens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, which I believe it has the capability to do. And that, is for another video if you haven't heard me talk about that. But go watch my workshops on my channel if you haven't seen those yet. You can also go to my website, consciouscrypto.info, and my workshop is on there. Link is in the bio for that. But let's get into the huge hack that happened and how you can protect yourself against the hack. And actually, before that, there's one other post I wanted to share relevant to kind of what we're talking about with these times being so interesting and this being the precipice of a huge, huge moment. Mike Flynn here posted, "Breaking, the storm has arrived." Yeah, I'll go ahead and just read it. "In the old days, one would ring the church bells warning of an incoming storm. People from all around would understand exactly what was happening. Right now, church bells across the country are ringing. The question, is anyone listening? I do realize some of you are listening because we communicate with each other fairly routinely. You get it. Despite the advent of social media allowing warning signs to be addressed, its sound must not be loud enough. Most of America doesn't realize how far we've gone over to socialism. Politics as usual won't do the trick anymore. Voting still matters, but we must seek new leaders and quickly get rid of the uniparty establishment that has brought us to our knees. Seriously, we can't even pass voter ID. History has a tendency to repeat itself. Sometimes it's the same plot with different actors or the modern arrangement of an old musical score. Those of you that are musically inclined will understand that phrase. When I say globalists are on the march and have a death grip on institutions all across America, I mean it. I speak about accountability all the time until many of you get sick of it. I will not relent. Without accountability of those who committed the most egregious crimes of treason or conspiracy to overthrow our government are placed in checkmate, the storm will not subside, and in fact, it will only grow in intensity. Warning, the storm is here." So take that as you will, but I think there's a reason that the socialists, the communists, that they so deeply oppose crypto, because as David Schwartz of, creator of XRP has said, The freedom of finance is the chief freedom through which all other freedoms revolve around. So if you don't have freedom of finance, you don't have freedom to bear arms, you can't pay for them. You don't have freedom to get gas to go to a protest, you can't pay for it, which is what happened with the Canadian trucker rally. If they can cut off your finances, they can make you completely inert. Of course, we'll always have our prayer, we'll always have our connection to God. They can never take that, but they can take away our actions through limiting financial ability. And so it's no coincidence that these are the people that are so actively fighting Clarity Act and so actively fighting crypto. Now, moving on to this massive hack that happened, you can see there's a guy here, Jonathan Goodman, who said $1.6 million in Bitcoin was drained from my account on July 29th in the cold card wallet hack. His Bitcoin was in cold storage. He was using the cold card. Basically, he didn't do anything wrong, got $1.6 million stolen. As of right now, $111 million of Bitcoin has been stolen through this hack. Now, what you need to know about this hack, it is a particular brand of cold storage wallet called the cold card that was affected. And the issue was not a blockchain issue. It was not even a Bitcoin or a crypto or a wallet issue in general. It wasn't an exploit in blockchain technology. It was a lapse of judgment or maybe even intentional, wrongdoing potentially of this wallet company. And essentially what they did wrong is, and I have to give a little context here, when you set up a cold storage wallet for the first time, you get a set of private keys or a seed phrase, which is usually 12 to 24 random words. The private key is a different thing. I'm not going to overcomplicate it here, but they're essentially almost identical in terms of what they do. And what happened was when the wallet company, when the wallet was setting up the secret keys, it set them up in a way where normally there's like a ridiculous amount of options. I think I've heard that it's like there's more options randomly for what a secret key could be than there are like atoms in the universe. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard. And so essentially it's you get a one in an infinite number that nobody would ever be able to just hard guess, which is how hackers and especially in the old days and in the more rudimentary sense would get into any kind of system. They would just, they'll run random number generators and keys that basically guess every password possible for like, more old school systems. That's even how Gary McKinnon broke into NASA Johnson back in like 2002 and found those UFO files at NASA. Was he just did this. He just ran every password combination possible with like an automated bot. And so normally it would be impossible to do that. You would spend probably billions of years of computing time trying to do that to finally hack into a crypto wallet. But what this company did wrong is they had set it up so that there was, as they call it, this is a good way to phrase it, reduced seed entropy, meaning the amount of combinations, the way that this wallet was creating them, there was a more limited number of combinations possible. It had put on some kind of restrictions in like essentially how random it could be. And so there was a more finite number of possibilities of what any given seed phrase can be. And so essentially these hackers were able to run these kind of more rudimentary hacking protocols and guess these passwords and then just started getting into accounts. And so it is an issue completely with this brand of wallet. Yes, other wallets could also do this without people knowing. Fortunately, I think this has been a big wake-up call to the wallet space in general, where these companies are all coming out now and proving that they have the level of essentially randomness. It has to do with how many bits they're using, and coming out and proving that they have full like 256 bits. Whereas for these, it reduced it from 128 to 40 bits. So essentially you want to know that whatever wallet you're using is correctly creating seed phrases. And that's where, for me, the DCENT wallet has always been my favorite and my go-to wallet, and the one that I um, do tutorials for and talk about in my program and show people how to use in the Conscious Crypto Academy. They did come out after this and confirm that they do use a 256-bit private key with a true random number generator, which runs 1 in 1 quintillion guesses per second. And so they came out and acknowledged that, or publicly said that they retweeted it here. I think maybe in an earlier tweet they also said it directly, but that they are using the right encryption technology. And so DCENT is also my favorite one. I've used Ledger, I've used a couple of other brands, and this is the one I really find to be the best because, for a number of reasons, it has a fingerprint scanner, which keeps all that data locally. It doesn't have Wi-Fi. It can't send that to any database, but it uses that fingerprint scanner to get access versus just a PIN code, which most wallets use, like a Ledger, which PIN codes can be guessed. Fingerprints can't be guessed, right? So that is a major plus. And then this brand also comes out of Korea, which next to Japan is also, they are the two biggest pro XRP and utilization of XRP countries per capita. So even more than America per capita relative to their population, they utilize XRP, Japan and Korea, way more than the US does. So this being a Korean company, they are very pro XRP, like it's kind of built for the XRP ecosystem. You can even see at the top, they're running an XRP promo for rewards and stuff. And so their whole ecosystem is based around XRP, whereas with Ledger and others, it's just not. These guys were like built to this product for XRP, although it does carry other cryptos. It'll carry, in fact, for me and for our academy, and this is another reason I love it, it'll hold all of the different cryptos that we focus on and that we teach about. So it'll hold XRP, XLM, SHX, the new TX, formerly Corium and Sologenic. We're going to get into that next. It'll hold, of course, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, any coin and more niche XRP ecosystem meme coins, especially, which other wallets don't do. So I really love them for that. And it was good to see that they came out and acknowledged that they are using the proper type of encryption for their seed phrases or private keys. So next, we're going to talk about TX and Corium. Now, in our academy, we have been covering this for the last couple of months and helping people transition over their assets. If you're not familiar what happened, Corium and Sologenic, two projects I've been talking about on this channel for years. They're the same developers. They decided to merge the two projects and rebrand them into TX. So now there's no more Sologenic or Corium that are being updated. Those coins still technically exist because they can't be deleted. And so that's why it's important that if it did not already happen automatically, or you've not already converted, that you convert any remaining Sologenic or Corium that you have into TX. That's extremely important because those assets are not going to be supported anymore, the old ones. And so they're just going to be essentially going to zero. So if you held Solo or Corium on an exchange like Uphold, those exchanges automatically converted to TX. So you probably would have seen that already. If you held it on, if you were staking it, your Corium, if you were staking it on a wallet and it was actively being staked and you're getting rewards, that also automatically transferred over, which you will have noticed by now. This is only relevant for the people who, particularly who had a Zamin, formerly Zum wallet, who were holding Solo or Corium on there, or people that are holding Sologenic anywhere. The Sologenic, that has to be manually converted. It will not auto-convert unless you have it on an exchange. The exchanges will auto-convert it all. But for the wallets, if you have Sologenic or if you have Corium and it's on the XRP side, like on your Zamin wallet, then you have to convert it. So you'll be able to do that through their website. And I do have tutorials for how to do this in the Conscious Crypto Academy. So I'm actually refilming the majority of all that material right now and updating it. So it's going to be very fresh, and there's going to be new stuff in there, old stuff that's not relevant that's being taken out to make room for new stuff. And so if you've been waiting on joining Conscious Crypto Academy and getting into crypto, and you're feeling the call and you've been putting it off, or you're just starting to learn about this stuff and you're feeling the call now, like I said, I think is one of the best times to get into crypto with where the market's at. You want to get in when things look scary. You want to get in when things are in the red and they're down, and the media is making it sound like it's not going to come back and feeding the fear porn and everything. That's the time to get in. You don't want to get in when things are rushing upwards and you're playing catch and you don't know. Maybe yes, it could keep going, and when we hit utility post clarity, then yes, that's going to be a different ball game. But for right now, we still have the ups and downs, and you want to take advantage. The biggest money, the most life-changing money is going to be made for those that are investing when the market is scary and in the red. So this is an excellent time to get in and learn all of this if it's new to you. And again, you can book a free 30-minute consultation call with me. The link is down below in the description. So TX, like I said, if you need help converting that, then the Academy will teach you how to do that. The other great thing about TX is they are doing staking rewards that I think is about 12% a month right now. It used to be much higher at like 40%. It actually went up to like 50, which we were really taking advantage of. And I told everybody at the time, this 50% isn't going to last forever. This is kind of a limited time, opportunity. And when they did this changeover, they brought it down to 12, but now there's also monthly airdrops that are happening. So that helps compensate the lowering in the APR. And airdrops are when a crypto is either increasing their supply, or first starting off and distributing their coins. In this case, TX is increasing its supply to 100 billion over the next, I believe it's 6 years. And so every month, if you are staked and already earning your APR staking rewards, you will also get a monthly airdrop, which the last couple months has been like 30-40% a month, which has been amazing. Now, I will also say the price of TX has gone down drastically since all this happened, partly because of this inflation. We're getting more coins. So even though the market cap, if it stays stable, the price will go down to compensate for the increase in supply. But if the market cap is the same, then it's not making a difference overall in your investment. But with the market coming down and TX being a lower market cap crypto in general, and the uncertainty and some drama in the community with this merge, and some people not being so happy about the merge, the price has gone down more than it normally would have in the bear market. And so for TX as well, I think it's a great time to get in. It is a high risk. This is probably the most high risk with high return potential as far as what we teach about. I focus on XRP the most, but TX is one that I think, put a little bit in, and it could, turn out to be something pretty nice. And if it doesn't, never invest anything that you're not afraid to lose. And especially with higher risk stuff, that's why you just put in like a percentage of your overall investments. You don't put in like a major amount. And that's the safe way to kind of play the game. So if you want to learn more about all of that, how to set it up, and also other passive income, we focus on Flare, and we're going to be talking about some other blockchains that have passive income opportunity. Then Conscious Crypto Academy can help you out, and we do those weekly calls. We've got the group chat. It's where I spend the most of my time, like staying, like keeping updated and keeping others updated, and having these community calls. So they're a lot of fun. So moving on. Oh yeah. So this I thought was interesting. Stevie XRP here, who I'm online buddies with, he is a great Mr. Pool researcher. And Mr. Pool, if you're not familiar, is essentially, I don't even know how to describe it. Time traveler, quantum computer from the future, insider. I don't really know, but they have predicted a lot of events over the years, and they post about XRP a lot. The current Mr. Pool accounts you'll find on X are all fakes. The original Mr. Pool, like with 17, got deleted. We don't know if the original came back as one of these others, but there's like a million fakes out there. And a lot of them post these long sentences, and Mr. Pool always just posted pictures and videos. And so this was the last post before Mr. Pool disappeared on 9/8/2025. So 1 month from now, 1 year ago. This featured, I believe this is the Wright brothers doing, I'm assuming, their first flight. So the flight has been coming up a lot for me synchronistically. And I just watched Studio Ghibli's movie, The Wind Rises, which is about leading up to World War II. This Japanese designer who designs what would become the Japanese Zero, which was the main fighter pilot for the Japanese in World War II, which has always been one of my favorite Japanese, or not one of my favorite World War II planes in general, not just Japanese. And so with this and that, and in general, it feels like there is, I'm getting an intuitive hit that it has to do with the symbology of us taking flight, and that we're going to be taking flight soon. And that's relating to what's going on with crypto, and crypto being a puzzle piece in the much bigger transformation and consciousness ascension that's going on in the planet right now. Disclosure, the files, the financial changes, the earth changes, everything is all connected. And so to me, this was kind of an interesting synchronicity that I wanted to share. And that's about it for today. We talked about where XRP might go in the next month. Keep everything kind of, take everything with a grain of salt that you're hearing, because nobody really knows for sure what's going to happen. But I think over the next month, going into clarity, we're going to have some volatility. I would say it's a great time to take advantage of it if you can. And if you want to book a free 30-minute consultation call with me, specifically if you're interested in joining Conscious Crypto Academy, I generally recommend that if you're going to join, that you have at least $5,000, if not more, to actually invest into your portfolio to make the full academy worth it for you and make it really tiered to helping you in the best way that it can. I would suggest having at least $5,000 or so. If you have less than that, I'm working on an alternative, cheaper subscription-based offer, or I'm thinking about it. I'm kind of brainstorming it right now, so that could be in the pipes. But for now, this is the only way to really get crypto help from me right now. And I will keep you guys updated on progress and updates about that. But you can also check out my website, consciouscrypto.info. If you scroll down, you can click on my workshops. I have 2 workshops I did in Sedona, one where I've got really long hair, one where I've got really short hair, about a year apart from each other, but they cover different things. And I would say they're both relevant. And I get a lot of people reaching out that are like, hey, I just went on your YouTube, I just found you, and I watched those workshops and they blew my mind. And they just kind of randomly came across me, which is so cool to see. So if you're on that boat, or you haven't checked these out, I recommend watching those. And then if you click like learn more here, it'll take you to, I have 2 kind of websites right now that I need to merge, but this will take you to my website that has a little more information about what's included and what we cover. And on both websites, you can also get to that link to schedule that consultation call with me if you're interested in joining. So let me know what you would like me to make videos about. I felt the call to do this crypto update, obviously, because it's really pertinent right now. But if there's anything that you would like me to talk about, whether it's crypto specific or outside of crypto, let me know in the comments. Glad to be of service here. Hopefully this helped you out, and I'll see you guys soon. Thank you for watching.